All right. How did you meet Eric?
Well, we met through a mutual group of friends about 7 or 8 years ago now. Um, he was a pretty rational guy. Wasn't he was intelligent. When people say that he's a survivalist, there's almost somewhat of a negative connotation to that. With what the local news sources have been propagating. He was an Eagle Scout. He was he had been involved in the Boy Scouts for about uh, maybe 5 or 6 years.
Okay. And I mean, you heard what the police press conference there said. They said that he was angry about society, that he was
Mhm.
distrustful of government, and that he made statements that he wanted to kill police officers. What did you hear him say about those things?
Well, he definitely let his opinions about the government be known, but
What were
specifically,
those?
um, well, I mean, he was obviously a big critic of the of the federal government, but he never specifically um, targeted police when he was talking to me. Um, no indications of really any malice towards law enforcement in particular. Most of his aggression was um, towards the federal government, and I'm curious as to where exactly news sources have been finding these comments about him talking about killing police officers over social media, because as um, as it was a big getting a hold of Eric was notoriously hard within our group of friends because of his lack of social media use.
Huh. When is the last time you talked to him?
About a month ago.
Hmm. Do you think that he was the one who shot these two police officers and killed Officer Brian Dixon?
Well, I'm kind of reserving judgment at this point. Uh, it's it's hard for me to say. There's several aspects of the case that seem really odd to me,
Such as?
es- especially him. If someone was going to theoretically commit a crime like this, I'm I'm really perplexed as to why he would have his social security card and a litany of other information detailing who he is and where he lives.
Yeah, you're referring to the fact that police found Frayn's social security card, gaming permit, some face paint, and shell casings about 2 miles from the crime scene. So you're skeptical because you think he would have planned it better?
What's that? I'm sorry.
You're skeptical of all the things that police say they found that suggest that it was Eric Frayne because you think he was smarter than that?
I'm I'm not necessarily skeptical about it, but it raises some odd questions, in my opinion, as to why he would do that. Because knowing his character, he was an extremely intelligent individual, and if he wanted to pull something like this off, uh, I think he would have um, planned it out better than he had.